This week, I wanted to talk to you about making art while traveling. It's something that I've actually seen a couple really good posts on lately, and I'll link to them in the text. But it's also something I do constantly, and so I thought it might be fun to talk about making art on the go while also having young kids, because that's my situation. Okay, it's very, very hot right now, and the little thing I have to connect my phone to the wall just fell off. So, new place for recording. When I'm thinking about making work on the go, I'm not thinking about making finished artwork. And while that may seem kind of like a given to some people, when I was first starting out, I found it very frustrating that I couldn't make even finished artwork. I couldn't finish a sketch while out a lot of the time. When my kids have been very little, it's very hard to even finish something that I start. As they get a little older, it's been easier and easier to find those moments to finish something that I start while we're out. But not having the expectation that I'll finish, not having the expectation that I'll make something finished that I could give away to somebody or sell or something like that. Having traveling be about my sketchbook practice creates a lot of freedom, especially if it's not like a super nice sketchbook. Like, I like semi-nice for traveling. Like Stillman and Byrne I consider pretty nice sketchbooks. They can tolerate a lot. You can do a lot of different things in them. And so those are the ones I tend to take while traveling. Last time we were traveling, I did take this one, which is a Sea White of Brighton. It's a UK brand that I hadn't tried before. My spouse got me one so I could try it out. And I liked it. It was fun to do these little nothing sketches, things, fun. And I just did this one in it not too long ago when we've been home for that one. But it's got quite a few pages, and it's not so expensive that I feel inhibited. Because like when you have something that's too nice, you might feel like, oh, I can't start a sketch and not finish it in this sketchbook. One, that's bullshit. You can start anything in your sketchbook and leave it unfinished. You could even go back and like gesso over a page, and start something new. You could do a different medium that covers the old one. Like you can work with the marks you started with. There are lots of ways around an unfinished sketch if it bothers you that it's unfinished, even in a nice sketchbook. But I think taking something that's kind of midline when you're traveling can really open up a lot, because then you're less afraid to just start something that you may have to leave unfinished. And you're able to play with what's in front of you more, because it's going to be an unfamiliar subject, most likely. And so you're going to need to play. You're not going to know how to depict it right away. And so, yeah, having cheaper ones, that's a good way to go. Another thing is not packing things that you rarely use at home. Most of the time, or in your studio, if you have a studio. I do not. Most of the time, being out and negotiating a new environment in different amounts of time is enough of a challenge for me to handle. Dealing with a newish medium on top of that is just too much. And those things usually just end up adding weight to my bag and guilt to my conscience when I do bring them. And it's not that I'll never use them. It's just that when you're traveling, you want to be able to pick it up and go. So if your go-to thing is drawing with graphite pencils at home, bring your graphite pencils. If it's watercolor you're constantly reaching for, bring your watercolor. If it's light and has few components, even more of a bonus, because you want it to be in a small bag. Don't bring a honkin' big bag when you're going to a place, unless you know you're going to have like lots of time to set up an easel and actually, have 3-hour chunks of time to paint. Bring something small. You would be surprised how much you can fit in here. I have lots of experience cramming lots of stuff into small bags. But lately what I've been doing is thinking ahead, okay, like, what do I want my travel process to be? Maybe I'll want to make small value studies before I paint anything. So then you might bring a set of markers to do those value studies. And so, like, for me, that looks like bringing these. And it's not a lot of weight, they're lightweight. It fits fine in my bag, no matter what bag I'm carrying. And then I know I can do a basic study and not have to pull out my paint, you know? So, like, things like that. Tools that you use often in your home practice and that are well adapted to taking them outside, like markers, like colored pencils. Think about it in those terms. Like, what do I love reaching for? What will be easy to pull out and put back, even keep in your pocket? I have lots of pictures of me on walks with my family or in the car or even out like in Joshua Tree with a pocket full of colored pencils, because having it literally accessible to you will mean that you'll pull it out. The other thing that can make this whole process easier when you're out is, rather than bringing like 4 pads of paper and 3 sketchbooks, bring 1 or 2 sketchbooks, ideally sketchbooks that are good for different things. You know, you might have a watercolor sketchbook and then you have a mixed media sketchbook, per se. Or bring 2 different sizes of the same thing. That can be really handy. And then instead of bringing like lots and lots and lots of paper that you know you're not going to ever get through, bring a sheet selection from your favorite pads. So you have lots of options, but not a ton of weight or bulk in your bag. You can easily, you know, even cut down to size some smaller papers of different types. So you have a lot of variety and a lot of things to choose from. And it can be really fun to be like, ooh, what do I want to use today? It's like shopping in your own art supply stash. So that's another thing, is like pack light on your substrates. Pack light in your materials. Choose what you love. Choose what you're excited about. And what will be easy to pull out in the moment and put back. This next step is not something you necessarily have to do to have a good time when you're out sketching. But it is something that's really handy. So if you know anything about where you're going, you know the colors that are really common in that area, you know the seating arrangements, like if you're going to be outside on a trail, are there benches? If there are benches, are there benches in the shade? You know, are you going to have to stand while you paint or draw? If you know any of these things, it can really help to plan around them. And if you're not from that area, you've never been there before, look at the travel photos that people post to get an idea of the colors. Maybe even do a couple of sketches before leaving to get yourself familiar with that scenery, so that when you do get there in person, it's easier than to just do that sketch, because it is something you've drawn before, just not in that actual setting, you know. So you can plan ahead in that way. And then you might even map out the areas, like say you know you're going to be going on a hike with friends or something. You can let that friend group know ahead of time, hey, I'm going to want to stop for 30 minutes to paint. Or like with my spouse, he knows that I will bring art stuff and I will be doing it whenever possible, very often in the passenger seat of the car. But also, like if we're at the botanical garden or anywhere like that, I'll want to stop and draw something. So it helps to like inform your people, you know? And obviously, if you're around people who you spend time with all the time, they know this about you. And hopefully they accept it. And maybe they'll even join in. I do tend to bring like a couple extra things and encourage the people around me to draw too, because it's so fun as a group activity. And then everybody comes away with this memory of doing it together, but also this memory that they can keep. It can also be really nice to do as your unplanned activity. You don't have to have everything planned. In the moments where you do have a lull, it's great to have this thing that you can pull out and do rather than being on your phone. It will make your trip, even if it's a day trip or an hour trip, it'll make it more memorable and stick in your life in a way that the moments that you spend on your phone do not. It's always worth it to try. The last thing I want to share is how useful it can be to have a specific but very forgiving goal. So on our most recent trip up to Northern California, where my spouse and I are both from, my goal was just to touch my supplies every day, find a way to do something. It didn't have to be big. Many days it was not big. Many days I sketched while my kid was napping, sketched as we drove from place to place. But there were a couple days where I got to sit and paint as well, and actually at least 3 days, I think. And so you being prepared for both scenarios can really help. But having that goal of just touch it every day. You know, you don't have to do anything major, just touch it. I think that enabled the days that I did have the chance to paint, because then I was in this rhythm of like, it's no big deal, you know, we're just going to do something, see how it goes. And so then you have these surprising experiences where you make something that you think is cool, you know, because there wasn't any pressure. And then you have the days that you don't do much, and those are okay too, because you have that goal. Another example of this kind of goal, it could be to bring a sketchbook that you're almost done with and try to fill the rest of the pages during the trip. That way it's like, oh, I just got to get my page in today. You don't have to do anything specific on that page, just like fill your page somehow, you know? You could even write on it. Who knows? But yeah, there's so much to be gained from giving yourself this challenge of doing things outside or inside in a new place with new people on the go. So you're facing these new constraints of potential interruption, not much time, you know, weather. There's so much stuff that can come up, but it's really, really worth it. So I hope you found this encouraging. I hope you'll get out and try it. It's great. And if you want to share your work with me, I'd love to see it.